Hey guys, it's time for my weekly When God Speaks. And this is going to be a little bit different than some of my previous ones, but I just believe that God kind of talks to us about all different kinds of things, depending on what we're going through, depending on what the world's going through. I just think that there's a lot going on in the world that God can kind of talk to us about and maybe help inform us a little bit on decisions that we need to make. And I'm just going to go ahead and give you a warning now. I'm going to jump on a soapbox here for a second. I'll try to make it brief, but I think it's something that needs to be said. And it's being said in lots of different ways, but I'm going to say it in a different way. You can't turn on the television. You can't listen to any kind of news, even the radio. There's nothing that you can listen to or even conversations with people. You can't look at anything or listen to anything without hearing about the political situation that we've got going on right now. Obviously, we've got an election, a very important election coming up this November. But currently, obviously, the Democrats, our presidential candidates, are now down to basically two that are duking it out to see which one gets to get beat by Trump. Now, okay, that's part of my soapbox, but that's not the soapbox yet. But we've got, what we have on the Democrat side is a socialist who is, this is my opinion, guys, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but who is stark craving mad. I mean, full on crazy. But then you have the other one, Biden, who has been there for 40 years, not done anything, and can't remember where he is or when it is. I don't think he's prepared. But the thing that stands out to me the most is the thing that I really want to talk about today. The crazy left of the Democrat Party is pushing so hard right now to move toward a socialist style government. And you may ask, Amy, what does this have to do with the Bible? What does this have to do with God speaking? Everything, okay? For real, everything. God gave us this world. God gave us these lives, and we're supposed to do something good with them, okay? We're supposed to follow what he says in the Bible. And, I know that whatever you're going through in your life, you can find an answer to it in the Bible in some sort of way. And if you're having trouble, message me, holler at me. I'll help you. But I want to talk about this socialism thing that's so hot right now. People don't want to work. And it's never been more evident than in the current crowd that is, say, the early 20s. Let's say that. Maybe late teens, but mostly early to mid 20s. They are some lazy suckers. Now, that's one thing everyone in this house, everyone in this family knows that's one of the things that I detest. I detest two things, dishonesty and laziness. I hate it. Really, really dislike those two things. But laziness is something that can get you absolutely nothing. If you want absolutely nothing out of life, just be lazy because you're going to get it. That's what's pushing this. The people with the loudest mouths that are pushing so hard for this whole socialism thing are the very people who, the majority of them aren't working, or if they are, they're working a couple hours here and a couple hours there and then complaining that they don't have, a CEO's pay. I see it all the time. I mean, personally, up close and personal, I see it all the time. And it's everything I can do to keep from blowing up. I bite my tongue and I just, bless your heart. But there is something in the Bible that talks about this. And when I grew up, my daddy was a minister, and I remember so many various things, out of the Bible, the stories and things that I've read, that he's read, that I've heard in sermons, or talked about in Sunday school, and sometimes I have to search for them because I can't remember where I found them. But I'm gonna show you something. And I jotted down some notes to kind of help me breeze through this real fast. But to preface this, the books of Thessalonians are letters from Paul, Silas, and Timothy to the people of the church of Thessalonians. And in 2 Thessalonians, in chapter 3, there is a section in there where they warn against idleness. Now, what's idleness? It's laziness. But I want to just point out a couple things. I'm not going to read the entire thing to you, but I want to point out a couple things in here. They're talking to the members of the church, and they tell them, they were reminding them of a visit that they had with them. And it says in there, at one part, it says, "We did not eat anyone else's food without paying for it. On the contrary, we worked night and day, laboring and toiling, so that we would not be a burden to you." And it goes on to say a rule that they gave them previously, and this is the rule: if a man will not work, he shall not eat. And that's something that we should probably remember these days. Put that into effect these days. If you're not willing to work, then maybe you shouldn't be eating. Maybe we shouldn't be feeding you if you are not willing yourself to work, to have food. Okay? Of course, it goes beyond food, but it's in the Bible, and it's something that even way back then was an issue. I guess there's been lazy people since the beginning of time. But it goes on, and it says, and check this out, "We hear that some among you are idle." There was gossip even back then. They were probably writing letters and sending them on a pigeon. I don't know how they did it back then. But saying, you know what, guys, Joe and Bill over here are completely lazy. They're not working. They're wanting us to feed them. Okay? Sound familiar? That's kind of what's going on right now. But it says, "We hear that some among you are idle." And they want them, they're trying to give them the point that you need to explain to them that they need to earn the bread that they eat. And it kind of closes with this: "If anyone does not obey our instructions in this letter, take special note of him. Do not associate with him, in order that he may feel ashamed. Yet do not regard him as an enemy, but warn him as a brother." Now, I think that right there says a lot. I mean, you can take that and kind of extrapolate it out to what we've got today. There are a lot of people out there, typically these young people, that do not want to work. Now, I will not say that all young people don't want to work. Do not get me wrong. But there is a big portion of them that are really, really wanting this socialism thing because they think that if we get the socialism thing, everything's going to be for free, so they're not going to have to work. But of course, someone's going to have to work so that the taxes can be stolen by the government and given to the people who don't want to work. Now, how awful. I'm a mother, but I'm a homeschooling mother, and I consider this part of my duty. Not just, reading and math and all that. I consider it part of my duty to teach my children current events. I would put my kids up against anybody on current events. They know them. But teaching them what the policies are, what's behind them, and why one is better than the other, what the ups and downs are to each different policy. I think we should all, as citizens, be informed about that. And this is not a political speech. It's not. Now, I'm a political person. I'm very involved. I'm in the know. I make sure that I'm informed about these things because this is our country. And the future of this country relies on us making informed decisions. And I believe that that's something that God would have us do. I mean, even something as simple and, as small as just laziness, working for the food you eat. It's actually in the Bible. They thought about it back then enough to write it down so that we've all got a record of it. It is such an important thing, and I think we're missing that. I've heard it said that Christians should be socialists because we should want to feed the poor. I'm all for charities helping people who need a hand up. And I know that can happen for a lot of different reasons. A death in the family, or laid off of a job, and you've got everything coming down on you. You need to feed your family. I understand that, but not for lifetime. Not for the rest of your life. People sometimes need a hand up, and there are a lot of great charities out there who people like me, normal everyday people, donate to so that those particular people who are in need can get help. But I want to remind you, this is logic here, if the government does this whole thing where they're taking all these taxes away from us, those charities are going to go away because we can't afford to pay all that money to the government and to the charities. And who do you think is better at spending that money to help needy people? Charities, who that's their only job, that's what they do, or the government, who is, they have proven themselves to not be trustworthy with our tax dollars. They spend them on whatever they want, and very little of it gets where it was supposed to go to begin with. Guys, we need to be thinking about this. And I'll say this, as Christians, this is part of our duty. God gave us certain responsibilities. We are to witness to other people. We are to show God through our lives to other people who may not know God. It is our duty to do those kind of things. But it's also part of that is helping our country remain what it is. We are the only nation in the world like ours. We are the only one that is, we are a Judeo-Christian society. We were founded on these principles. In God, we trust. Remember that one? But we are slowly allowing a few, small group of people with really big mouths to push us around and to take those freedoms away from us. I'll show you something else. We just got back from church. See that right there? That goes with me everywhere I go. If I can't have that with me, I don't go there. That's one of those freedoms. That's one of those things that our forefathers thought of in the very beginning. Not so that we can hunt, and honestly, not even so that we can defend ourselves against a burglar. That right there, the Second Amendment, those rights, it's for defense against a tyrannical government. Well, what do you think is going to happen when we fall victim to socialism? Everything's going to fall apart because there's not going to be any money to pay for all these free things. And they're going to come after our guns. Well, they're going to continue coming after our guns. And if they were to somehow find a loophole where they can actually get in and get them, what's to stop them from doing anything else? Remember Germany, the Nazis? Remember, hey, Venezuela, what's going on right now? Okay, I did the soapbox thing, but I want you to see the importance of it, and I also want you to see that God talks about it right here. It's right in here. All those little tiny things that we face today are really nothing new. Nothing's really new. It just keeps getting recycled like bell-bottom jeans. I'm telling you, guys, this is a time that we have to stand up and be firm in our beliefs. If you are a Christian and you truly believe what is in this Bible, then this is the time that you need to stand up strong for your beliefs. I know I will be. Now, I apologize. No, I don't. I was going to say I apologize if I've offended anybody, but that whole offended thing has been carried way too far. I hope that I didn't offend you too bad. But if the shoe fits, I hope you'll come back again. I'll do this every week, have a different thought, whatever God puts on my mind, and it'll all come straight out of the Bible.